Hey Adam, Grant Putnam here. Just wanted to explain a little bit about the thought process on the design that we put together for you. Normally we would always actually charge for design time, but I thought it would give me a leg up on the competition. It gives you a little sense in regards to our design capabilities and expertise when it comes to doing design build projects. So anyways, the front of your house, currently you have green velvet boxwood along the front, and those are all dwarf type boxwoods. They tap out about 30 inches tall. So the idea is take all the dwarf boxwoods in front of your house and move them on top of the wall. So these are here, 1 through 9 total, okay. Then install 2 new tree hydrangeas, which are very compact growing trees. They start blooming in July and they bloom until frost. So they give you an abundance of flowers and they're really gorgeous. So what I'm gonna do is, after I finish this video, when we send you the emails, we'll send you a second email that has all the pictures of the various suggested shrubs and trees. So this way you have a good sense of, obviously what they look like. So now the other thing you had in the front of the house were these 8 little Wigelia Midnight Wine. Those only grow about 30 inches wide, about 12 inches tall, has purple flowers and then purple leaves and pink flowers in the spring. You currently have those again in the front of your house, and the concept was, let's reuse those where they get some more sunlight underneath your tree hydrangeas. All right, because right now there's really very little sun up against the house. So any plants that we suggested in the front of the house are more shade tolerant. In this way they're going to look dense over time versus choosing the wrong plant. Wigelia requires more sunlight than where they had it in front of the house, which is one reason why they were kind of stunted in growth. Okay. So then we had American boxwoods up against the house, which is the typical larger size boxwood that will grow taller. You can maintain that around 4 to 4.5 feet tall, and they keep their color, and again, just very popular in the area. So we had those as a clean line going through here, here, and here, okay? So one kind of uniform look. You don't really have the chance to stagger the plants nor try different varieties for 2 reasons. One is again the dense shade. Boxwoods do well in the shade, which is why we suggested it. And 2, the beds are very narrow, so you can't add a lot of variety or whatnot just because of the size of the beds. You're somewhat constrained. All right, to give you some height to kind of frame the main doorway, we took out the hollies, which again are more of a full sun plant. Those hollies you could transplant into the backyard, but take out these hollies and put in Green Mountain boxwood. One thing I want to make you aware of, because you have a portico above your steps, and the way the sun moves, one plant might look a little different than the other plant over time because you have less sunlight on one versus the other. All right, there's nothing you can really do about that. But Green Mountain boxwoods, which are pyramidal shaped boxwoods, again, it's a boxwood, so it's going to do better in the shade than a holly would, which is why we suggested it. Okay. Then along the front, I had Liriope spicata as kind of one element through here, and then along the edge of the bed here to tie it all together. That blooms purple in August, has black berries in September, grows about 12 inches tall, 15 inches wide, and it's designed to plant in masses, so it forms like a ground cover effect. And the good thing about that is, different than most perennials, it keeps its color during the winter, whereas most other perennials have no color during the winter, which is basically what you have now in front of the house, which is something I think you mentioned that you didn't like. Okay. Then over here, there's the one little dogwood tree that's like 5 to 6 feet tall. So the idea there was to move that and transplant it over here. So then over time, you've got these 3 trees that will eventually grow bigger, and this kind of makes sense because it kind of fits in with where the other 2 tree locations are existing. Okay. Then to replace the dogwood tree to get some more height, I suggested a Stewartia tree. One of my favorite ornamental trees. considering it has the tri-factor of interest. So it has interesting bark color, has a off-season bloom. So most of your trees bloom early spring. This blooms early summer. So it really is a showpiece when it blooms, considering not many other trees are blooming at the same time. And it also has great red fall color, almost like a maple tree. Okay, so that is again anchoring kind of in the corner of the house. For privacy, you have partial sunlight in this area. And I don't think you want to put in trees that will eventually grow 60, 80 feet tall. A lot of guys would try to probably suggest that. And then, of course, you live there for 10, 15 years, you have to cut them down. So potentially a better concept is using leather-to-leaf viburnum, which is considered to be shade tolerant. It's evergreen. All right, it flowers in the spring. So it gives you, again, more interest. We can get them about 6 to 7 feet tall right off the bat. So this way it gives you some immediate kind of block of the line of sight as you're pulling down the driveway. And eventually they'll grow taller, almost 12 feet tall, which is almost like kind of the perfect tap out height to block that generator. Okay. Then on the back side of this bed, I was going to transplant the 3 spirea that you already had. So 1, 2, 3. And then add in some hydrangeas that bloom all summer. Okay. So, and then below that we had some lacoth, which is another type of an evergreen shrub, and then a couple of perennials, which I'll send you pictures of. Okay, so that kind of compromised the front of the house, as well as you mentioned you want to cover the wellhead. So again, we put a different type of lacoth in that area to help cover the wellhead. So that's it for in regards to the design. But again, appreciate the opportunity, and we'll chat soon. Thanks.